She weighed only 4 pounds, barely the size of a loaf of bread. Yet on the battlefields of the Pacific, this tiny Yorkshire Terrier named Smoky would become one of the most remarkable heroes of World War II. She was discovered in 1944 in a jungle foxhole in New Guinea. No one knew where she came from. No tags, no name, no unit. Just a small dog with bright eyes and a calm courage that would soon astonish everyone who met her. She was adopted by Corporal William Wynne, a combat photographer, and together they would travel through some of the toughest campaigns of the war. Smoky's first missions were simple: following Wynne, keeping him company, surviving air raids. But soon she became more than a mascot. She seemed to sense dangers before it came, barking warnings seconds before incoming fire or aircraft. Soldiers began to trust her instincts and rely on her. Then came the moment that made her legendary. On Luzon, American engineers needed to run a communication cable beneath an active airfield. The only way through was a narrow 70-foot drainage pipe, barely 8 inches wide. Clearing and digging it out would take 3 days and expose hundreds of men to enemy fire. Wynne tied a guide string to Smoky's collar, knelt beside the pipe, and whispered to her, "Go on, girl." Without hesitation, Smoky crawled into the darkness. The pipe was filled with dirt, insects, and collapsed pockets, but inch by inch she pushed through. The men waited in silence. Minutes passed. Then, suddenly, cheering, Smoky emerged on the other side, head covered in dust, tail wagging, cable string still attached. Her action saved countless lives, restored communications in minutes instead of days, and allowed the airfield to continue operating under fire. For that alone, many soldiers called her the bravest dog of the Pacific. But Smoky's heroism didn't end there. She survived more than 150 air raids, parachuted from planes in a special harness, entertained troops with tricks, and later visited wounded soldiers in hospitals, becoming one of the world's first therapy dogs long before the term existed. When the war ended, Smoky returned to the United States with Wynne. She became a national sensation, appearing on TV and performing for hospitals and veterans' homes. To every person she met, she brought the same quiet comfort she once brought to terrified soldiers far from home. Smoky passed away in 1957, but her legacy lives on. Statues of her now stand in Ohio, Australia, and around the world, honoring the tiny terrier who showed that courage isn't measured in size, only in heart. Her story reminds us that even in the darkest moments of war, hope can come from the smallest of heroes.